I could freestyle about it, preach about it, or go off top of the head. But today I brought my notes so I could resurrect the dead. Yeah! Greetings and blessings to my navigators of the seven seas. I am your locksmith, your symbologist, and metaphysical tour guide, Flat Archie 5000. And I'm back with another one as we navigate through the land of Pineal. Today we're going to unlock your Solomon's Temple to decode the esoteric meaning of Moses, the master student of life and spirit. So as always, strap on your helmet and buckle up your spacesuit because we're on a mental voyage and we're about to take off before the walls of Jericho come crumbling down. In the tradition of entering Solomon's Temple, we must use a meditative master key to help us stay on the path of enlightenment. It is these divine words that have a literal, allegorical, and metaphysical message attached to them when understood in its proper context. So today we give honors and respect to a wise man that once said, "Be careful to who you let on your ship, because some people will sink the whole ship just because they can't be the captain." Let me repeat it one more time for those foolish fools who attempted to wear the shoes of the master before earning their degree in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. A wise man once said, "Be careful to who you let on your ship, because some people will sink the whole ship just because they can't be the captain." Go on and meditate on that and click your heels 3 times while I ring this bell of enlightenment for that powerful meditative key of wisdom as you enter the corridors of your Solomon's Temple. Let's get to it, shall we? No time to waste. Take note, masterminds. The connection between Moses of the Hebrew Bible and the name Thutmose is primarily rooted in esoteric interpretations and symbolic readings, rather than in mainstream historical analysis. The name Thutmose refers to a series of pharaohs during ancient Egyptian New Kingdom, particularly Thutmose III and Thutmose IV, known for their military campaigns and monumental buildings. Thus, Thutmose III, circa 1479 to 1425 BCE, and Thutmose IV, circa 1401 to 1391 BCE, who were part of the 18th dynasty during the New Kingdom period. These pharaohs played significant roles in the history and culture of ancient Egypt, contributing to its military, architectural, and artistic achievements. Often referred to as the Napoleon of Egypt, Thutmose III is one of the most celebrated pharaohs in ancient Kemetic history. His reign marked the height of the Egyptian Empire, expanding Egyptian territory through a series of military campaigns, ascending to the throne as a young boy. He was initially co-regent with his stepmother, Hatshepsut, who was a powerful figure during the early years of his rule. After his death, Thutmose III asserted his authority and undertook extensive military campaigns, notably the Levant and Nubia. His most famous battle was the Battle of Megiddo, where he secured a decisive victory. Thutmose III was also a great builder, commissioning numerous temples, monuments, and obelisks. He credited with expanding the Temple of Karnak, one of the most significant religious centers in ancient Kemet. Throughout his reign, he actively promoted the worship of the god Amun, aligning his rule with the powerful priesthood of Amun at Karnak. His military successes and building projects helped solidify ancient Kemet's wealth and influence in the ancient world. In terms of administration, Thutmose III is noted for his effective governance and ability to maintain control over a vast empire. He established a bureaucratic system that handled resources, tribute, and governance across the diverse regions of his empire. After his death, he was buried in the Valley of the Kings, and his legacy was honored through subsequent generations. Let's ring the bell for that. Thutmose IV was son of Thutmose III, came to power after a period of relative stability in ancient Kemet. His reign is notable for a notable event known as the Dream Stele, which records his claim to the throne after having a vision while resting near the Great Sphinx of Giza. The stele asserts the god Horus, also known as Heru, promised him kingship if he restored the Sphinx, known as also as Herm Akhet, which had fallen into despair. As a ruler, Thutmose IV worked to strengthen Egypt economically and militarily, although his reign is characterized by a slightly reduced level of military activity compared to his predecessor. This can be attributed to the stable borders and territories established during Thutmose III's reign. Thutmose IV made significant contributions to construction projects, including the restoration of monuments and temples. He also focused on the arts, encouraging the flourishing of monumental sculptures and painting. His efforts to promote the worship of the sun god Aten are also noteworthy, as he paved the way for future pharaohs to embrace this form of worship. Thutmose IV, diplomacy and focus on trade helped to enhance Egypt's relationships with surrounding nations, aiding in the stability of the reign during his reign. Let me repeat that one more time. Aiding in the stability of the region during his reign. The lives of Thutmose III and Thutmose IV significantly impacted Egypt's political, military, and cultural landscape during the New Kingdom. Thutmose III's military conquests expanded Egypt's territories to their zenith during Thutmose IV, focused on the diplomacy, construction, and restoring the country's great monuments. Their reigns illustrate a remarkable period of Egyptian history characterized by artistic and architectural achievements, as well as military prowess, continuing to influence later generations in both history and legend. Take note, masterminds. The connection between Moses and Thutmose is primarily rooted in esoteric interpretations and symbolic readings, rather than in mainstream historical analysis. The name Thutmose refers to a series of pharaohs during ancient Egypt's New Kingdom, particularly Thutmose III and Thutmose IV, known for their military campaigns and monumental buildings. Conversely, Moses is a central figure in the Hebrew Bible, renowned for leading the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt. The exploration of their potential connection often arises from examining their names and roles in their respective narratives. Let me repeat that one more time. I'll ring the bell for that. Moses is a central figure in the Hebrew Bible, renowned for leading the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt. The exploration of their potential connection often arises from examining their names and roles in their respective narratives. The name Moses, from the Hebrew Moshe, derives from the Egyptian root mes, meaning to be born or child. Similarly, Thutmose translates to born of the god Thoth. This phonetic and thematic similarity suggests a linkage between the two figures, particularly as both names embody concepts of birth and divine intervention. This connection may serve to create an archetype relationship in which both figures represent significant transformations. Thus, in esoteric traditions, mythological figures often symbolize broader spiritual messages. Moses is viewed as an emblem of liberation, spiritual awakening, and the pursuit of divine truth. Conversely, Thutmose, as a pharaoh, exemplifies secular power and the divine authority associated with kingship. By positing that Moses is an incarnation of Thutmose, some interpretations suggest a narrative that highlights the tension between the earthly authority and a higher spiritual calling. Portraying Moses as an evolution of the Thutmosian archetype. Cultural synchronism was prevalent in ancient times, the various religions and mythologies influencing one another. Some esoteric views maintain that as different cultures interacted, their significant figures began to share characteristics and roles. From this perspective, Moses may be symbolized as a shift from polytheism to monotheism, representing a transition into spiritual understanding while embodying aspects reminiscent of Thutmosian authority. Thus, as we delve into the life and significance of one of the most profound figures in the history of spiritual thought, Moses, also known as Thutmose, his story is not merely that of a man, it is a symbol, a journey through the trials of the human spirit. When we explore the life of Moses, we must understand that we are entering a rich mental state of consciousness, woven with threads of divine inspiration, moral law, and the quest for liberation. Thus, to understand Moses fully, we must grasp that his experiences in Egypt are not merely historical facts, but allegorical representations of the soul's quest for enlightenment and wisdom. If we were to briefly view his life literally, it is said that Moses was born into a world steeped in the mystical traditions of ancient Egypt, which was profoundly influenced by the knowledge and practices of a civilization that revered the mysteries of life and the cosmos. It is in this land of pyramids and sacred rituals that Moses would undergo a vital transformation. In esoteric teachings, Egypt, also known as Kemet, is often seen as the cradle of knowledge, a place where initiates sought the truth and understanding through both sacred science and philosophy. Let's ring the bell for that. Thus, one must consider the significance of the Egyptian priests. These men were not merely religious figures, they were custodians of profound wisdom. In their temples, they practiced not just rituals, but a form of sacred science, an understanding of the metaphysical laws governing human existence. Moses, raised within this environment, had access to such teachings. Though he was an outsider, being of Jewish heritage, he absorbed the essential truths of existence, grappling with the duality of life, the interplay of light and darkness, God and man, freedom and bondage. Moreover, during his formative years, Moses learned the ancient arts of alchemy, a symbol of spiritual transformation, the alchemical process, which seeks the purification of elements and the creation of the philosopher's stone, which is a metaphor for personal evolution. It teaches that the individual must undergo trials to achieve spiritual gold. Similarly, Moses' own transformation from an Egyptian prince to a prophet was a form of this alchemical process. Let the God repeat that one more time. Ring the bell for that. It teaches that the individual must undergo trials to achieve spiritual gold. Similarly, Moses' own transformation from an Egyptian prince to a prophet was a form of this alchemical process. He extracted vital lessons from the duality of his existence, straddling two worlds, the opulent world of the pharaohs and the oppressed world of his people. Moses' experiences also illustrate the importance of knowledge acquired through suffering. The Israelites' enslavement represented not just physical bondage, but also spiritual ignorance. In the crucible of suffering, Moses learned that empathy and the significance of liberation. It was in this experiencing the pain of his people, the Jews, being enslaved in the land of Egypt, that he awakened to his own potential as a leader and teacher. He understood that knowledge must be tempered by compassion, a lesson essential for any spiritual seeker. Moreover, the Egyptian concept of Ma'at, the principles of truth, balance, and cosmic order. The Egyptians believed that life must be lived in harmony with these principles. To achieve spiritual progress, Moses internalized this understanding when he later received the Ten Commandments. It was not just a set of laws, it was the manifestation of the principles of Ma'at, establishing a moral framework for humanity. This divine guidance was essential in helping his people navigate the complexities of their existence and the universal laws that govern life. Let's ring the bell for that. Consider also the Egyptian mythology. The gods and goddesses encapsulated various aspects of the human experience, serving as symbols of the divine qualities we all possess. From a young age, Moses was exposed to the stories of Osiris, Isis, and Horus. These narratives symbolize the eternal conflict between light and darkness, life and death, and the promise of resurrection, a theme that would later resonate profoundly in his own spiritual journey and that of the Israelites. Moses' eventual flight from Egypt reflects another vital lesson. Fleeing symbolizes the necessity of breaking free from the confines of comfort, an essential step in every initiatory process. It reminds us that sometimes we must abandon the familiar, despite its allure, to seek a greater truth. Conscious evolution often demands a leap into the unknown, a surrendering of the ego in pursuit of spiritual awakening. The knowledge he accumulated in Egypt at the feet of the hierophants and high priests, and being initiated into the mystery schools during these years, shaped him into becoming the leader and prophet he would become. He emerged from Egypt not only with a profound understanding of the divine laws, but with a heart attuned to the cries of his people and the wisdom of the ancients. In essence, the Egyptian experience illuminated the path for Moses, a reminder to each of us that on our own trials and tribulations can lead to profound growth and understanding. Furthermore, the confrontation between Moses and Pharaoh, particularly the moment when Moses' staff turns into a snake, is rich with symbolic and esoteric meaning. This act represents transformation and the duality of power. The staff itself symbolizes authority, stability, and support, while the snake embodies danger, wisdom, and transformation. By turning his staff into a snake, Moses illustrates that true power originates from within and can manifest into the unexpected forms, challenging conventional understandings of authority. Moreover, this narrative highlights the struggle against oppression. Pharaoh represents the forces of enslavement and control. The snake's ability to shed its skin serves as a metaphor for renewal and change, symbolizing the potential for liberation from oppressive systems. In this light, Moses' confrontation with Pharaoh becomes a powerful allegory for the quest for freedom, both personally and collectively, against the backdrop of tyranny. In the context of ancient Egyptian symbolism, the snake carries additional meaning. In Egyptian culture, serpents were linked to both chaos and divine protection, exemplified by the uraeus, a rearing cobra of Pharaoh's crown. Moses' ability to transform his staff into a snake is a direct challenge to the existing spiritual authority of Pharaoh and the Egyptian pantheon, implying that ultimate power resides not with earthly rulers, but with the divine will as expressed through Moses. From a psychological perspective, the snake may represent the unconscious or repressed aspects of the self. Moses' act of transformation signifies the importance of confronting one's fears and shadow elements. The journey from Egypt symbolizes a transition from spiritual bondage to awakening, with the serpent embodying the hidden wisdom essential for this path of growth and self-discovery. Lastly, the miracles performed by Moses, including the snake's transformation, affirm his authority as a prophet and showcase divine intervention into human affairs. This act serves as a sign for the Israelites of Moses' connection to God and prefaces the subsequent miracles and plagues, underscoring the themes of divine power, overcoming human oppression. In essence, the story represents a journey of spiritual transformation where base instincts give way to higher consciousness, making it a profound symbol and subject for reflection and exploration. Tea time. Most people tiptoe through life in hopes to make it safely to death. Let me repeat it one more time. For those of you who have yet to find a reason to put your life on the line for an honorable cause. It was once said by a mastermind that most people tiptoe through life in hopes to make it safely to death. Now let us get back to feeding the village with 2 fish and 5 loaves. Question: why are we talking about Thutmose dynasties and Moses, and how can this information be of any benefit to us today? Answer: take note, masterminds. When we speak about the word revolution, Moses is perhaps best known for leading the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt, a tale chronicled in the book of Exodus. However, to perceive Moses solely as a historical figure would be to overlook the profound allegory that his life represents. In esoteric traditions, figures like Moses embody universal archetypes. To understand Moses is to understand the journey of the soul towards enlightenment. Moses was born during a time of great oppression. His very survival was a miracle, saved from the waters of the Nile. And this act stands as a powerful metaphor. The river symbolizes the unconscious, which is the waters of creation, from which all life springs. To be saved from these waters illustrates the emergence of individual consciousness, a necessary step in the spiritual journey. Thus, the moment when Moses encounters the burning bush, here the symbolism takes an even deeper turn. The bush of flame, yet unharmed, represents the divine spark within all of us. It is the eternal aspect of our being, the inner light that fuels our quest for knowledge and understanding. When Moses turns aside to investigate, it signifies the awakening of the seeker, the moment when we choose to engage with the divine presence. What follows in the narrative is equally significant: the receiving of the Ten Commandments on Mount Sinai. These commandments are not merely rules, they are universal principles that guide the development of ethical consciousness and the relationship between humanity and the divine. In the esoteric tradition, the number 10 signifies masculine and feminine energy and completion and the manifestation of divine order. The commandments represents the pathway towards achieving harmony both within ourselves and in our interactions with others. Mount Sinai itself is a symbol of initiation, elevated and challenging. It is where the seeker encounters the divine. In mystical traditions, mountains often represent spiritual ascent, climbing towards wisdom and enlightenment. Moses, as the mediator between God and the people, embodies the role of the hierophant, the teacher who reveals greater truths. Also, the significance of the name Moses, often interpreted as drawn out. He was drawn out from the waters, but more than that, he drew forth the divine law that the depths of consciousness into the light of human understanding. In the esoteric sense, this act is an invitation to each of us, an encouragement to draw forth the divine potential hidden within. Our own journeys may lead us through trials, but like Moses, we can emerge transformed. The journey through the wilderness is one of the most critical aspects of Moses' story. It symbolizes the trials of life and the quest for self discovery. The Israelites wandering for 40 years is not merely a historical account, it represents the soul's evolution through doubt and challenge. In our own lives, we may feel lost, wandering through our own deserts of uncertainty. Yet it is within these trials that we forge our character and discover our destiny. The legacy of Moses does not end with time on earth. It continues to reverberate through the ages as a testament to the enduring human quest for knowledge, freedom, and the divine. He's a beacon for seekers who aspire to understand their purpose by recognizing the allegorical nature of his life. Thus, we are urged to acknowledge our own potential to become Moses in our own right, liberators of mind, teachers of truth, and seekers of the divine. Let's ring the bell for that. Thus, in each of us lies the potential to encounter the divine, the burning bush. Let us heed the call, turn aside from the distractions of the world, and listen for that inner voice. Just as Moses led people towards the promised land, may we each find and follow our own path towards enlightenment and liberation. The journey is both individual and collective, a shared human experience that transcends time and space. So, as always, in Solomon's temple, I leave you in peace with these powerful words. The sheep will spend its entire life fearing the wolf, only to be eaten by the shepherd. Let me repeat it one more time, just so you can get the memo. The sheep will spend its entire life fearing the wolf, only to be eaten by the shepherd. Ashe, ashe, ashe.